So what are we going to do? We have kusli, ksli, kslu, klui. I'm seeing so many amazing ideas in the chat here. Thank you. It's doing this again, isn't it? But in B2.2.11. Maybe if I move myself. I'm not as important as these forms. Yeah, I think I've been here before. YouTube. Hi. Welcome back. We're working on the Sakrat language family, and you heard me right because I said language family, not just the proto-language. We are actually going to start deriving things for the descendant languages today. So let's get started, shall we? Let's get started. Okay, what do we have for our inventory for the proto-language? To recap, we have this sesquisyllabic structure where we have a minor and a major syllable. The minor syllable is optional, so we can illustrate. Oh, there we go. We can illustrate with the forms on the right. So we have things like te. Te are just have a major syllable. So the major syllable is mandatory. Everything has to have the major syllable. So tra, te, tar, tal, sui, sre. These are all just composed of the major syllable element. The syllable structure of the major syllable is syllable is CRVC, where R is any of these guys, ra, la, ya, wa, and otherwise it's pretty self-explanatory. You know, boring 5-vowel system. No, it's not boring. It's beloved. And then the minor syllable is a CV, where the V is only one of the 3 peripheral vowels, a, i, u. And that's about it. So as examples for that, we have susyut, tarun, tinan, pukak, pukak, rusad, sakrat, the name of the family, pibrun. So this is what we're working with. And so I'm thinking what we could do is have, so this will be Proto-Sakrat. And then we've dealt with that already. Let's push this down over here. So then we want this branch 1 to be the proto language of the languages that stayed in the original homeland. And then we want branch 2 to be the ones that left. And so my idea is generally branch 1 is going to be more conservative. I don't think it's universal, but it's pretty typical for languages to be more conservative in their sort of original homeland. I mean, this is not, I think, by any stretch a rule, but it has been known to happen on occasion, and I think that's a cool pattern for us to replicate. So B1 will be a relatively conservative branch. B2 will be where all the radical changes happen. So what are we going to do? I think the big thing that we should do for B2 is start wearing down these minor syllables. I think this could be the big split. So we have things like, we have bakal. Let's just put no changes into B1 at the moment, and we'll make some changes for it after. And then instead of bakal, we have a schwa. Bakal. Oops. Where am I? I always get lost. Okay, there we go. So we start to lose some of the distinctions, the vowel distinctions. Actually, we lose all the vowel distinctions in the initial, in that minor syllable. And let's try another example, because I think this will be fun. So dipan and depan. But I don't want to lose this distinction altogether. So what I think we could do is leave a little trace that used to be an E. So Japan. And then we can do the same thing with, where's one with an U? Kusli. So we have kusli, and in B2, oops, bit far down So kusli will become not kasli, but kwasli. And so we start to have this vowel contrast expressed on the consonant. So that, I think, is a big change that's going to end up having a lot of fun effects. Because now, once that vowel contrast is expressed on the consonant, we are free to use it and create a whole new series of consonants. So, time to review the chat, because I see that there's been some good stuff. Yes. Okay, Quain's got some cool stuff. So then we can talk about what's going on in B1, 2. And maybe what happens is... Okay. Why don't we leave B1, 2 out of it for now? You will get Pakal. Quain, you will get Pakal, I promise you that. Okay, so then this is one branch, then B2, I don't know what we're going to call this. We could call this B2, 2, I guess. And then we lose the schwa here. So then, and we're going to have to probably assimilate the voicing. So there's where you get your pakal. Pakal, and then something like chipan, and then something like kusli. But maybe what happens here is this secondary articulation spreads to the whole cluster. So pakal, tipian, and kusli. Kusli. Obviously that's temporary. We're going to do something. Oh, sorry. I always let me just push this over here. So let me rephrase, because I realize it may have been hard to see some of it. So we have bakal going to bakal in branch 2. And then, so the first change is we lose vowel contrasts, and those vowel contrasts get realized as secondary articulations on the preceding consonant. Then we delete that vowel altogether, and then the resulting consonant cluster turns into something that, we see assimilation in voicing. So we go from bakal to bakal. So we lose the voicing on that ba. And we also assimilate in the secondary articulation, but in the opposite direction. So if we have palatalization on this diapan, when we lose the schwa, we get the voicing assimilating from the second member of the cluster, and the palatalization getting spread to the entire cluster. So we get tipian. And similarly, the same with kusli, which becomes kwasli. So we have labialization on this, on the K, and the U becomes a schwa. And then when the schwa drops out, that labialization permeates the entire cluster. That's the kind of idea. Okay. So that is one option. Maybe we also have a language, so maybe this is B2-1, which does not which does not retain the secondary articulations. So we lose it altogether, and we just go to xli. Xli, tpan, kal. Yeah, and so then we get something like Barus, Bruce, and this just ends up being the same. I don't know why that's not copying and pasting for me. It's doing this again, isn't it? Yeah, I think I've been here before. Sometimes, there we go. Okay. So B21 loses the secondary articulations. Maybe before it loses them, we get that affrication that we all love so much. And so let me find where the IPA keyboard was. Hello. There you go. Okay. And so then we want our good, where is it? So we get something like chpan. And maybe the voicing assimilates the other way in this one, so we get jban. And then what we could do is do something like B221, where we lose the second. So, okay, this is wonderful. So Benji, yes. So after we have these labialized consonants, maybe they will throw off their rounding onto the vowel. And so we can lose them that way. So then we get in B221, xli. In, oops, what else do we have? In, I don't think any, well, we'll leave that for now. What would it do? Maybe it would front the a to an e or something. Depend. I'm just going to, oops. Maybe we get something like this. Depend. And maybe we get, what else? Do we have any others that are interesting? No, we don't. So maybe that's B221 and then B222. We do not get that. We get Tepian. So we get a full on glide. And we get xlui. Okay. And then maybe what happens in this language, this branch, B222, is, I think we need some more stuff. Maybe S goes to H and aspirates the K here. I don't know, we're just sort of messing around here. It's all up for grabs. But we could do something like this. Clui. So now we have, assuming that that 2, 1, 2, 2, 1, 2, 2, 2, and 1 are the terminal nodes, we have kusli, xli, xlu, clui, which I like. This is getting fun. Yeah, so we might have something like we might have something like let's branch off of this one. So 2, 2, 1. I don't know, 2211. How am I doing these numbers? I don't know. And this is going to have a parenthesis to repair some of these clusters. So where Neku mentioned this, right? So Xali. Maybe it goes there and becomes Xali. Maybe that is what we'll do there, and we get reepenthesis of schwa, tapen, pakal, but not barus, because this one's fine. Yeah, and so then we have this new contrast between schwa and nothing that isn't identical to the contrast that the proto-language had. Okay. Okay. I'm seeing so many amazing ideas in the chat here. Thank you. The chat overfloweth. Okay, so I'm gonna pick up on an idea of Quain's here, because we can get that that lateral fricative. So where did it go? I saw it. I just saw it. Xli, cli. Yep. So B2111 is going to have something like, back to the IPA chart. La 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 la. No, that's not the right one. Where is the lateral fricative on here? Ah. Xli. And then, actually, sorry, Kli, which is going to become Kli. This should be 2.1.1. Okay. So then if we look at these cognate sets, these are getting kind of fun. So let's say that, let's mark the ones that are terminal nodes. Ooh, that's a big green. See, because I'm in dark mode, they don't show up as I'd expect. Is that painful to view? I'm trying to find a nice color. Okay, that's fine, I think. Although I don't know if I can find it again. Sorry, this must be painful to watch. Yeah. Cool. It's 4 over and 1 up. So B1 is terminal. And by terminal node, I mean just something that we're going to be sort of comparing apples to apples. Things that aren't just intermediate states. Okay, so this one, maybe these three. So we have something like kusli, kli, xli, xali, and klui. And that's a decent set of cognates right there. How did we get dark mode in Google Sheets? There is a plugin called Dark Reader, which does the job. And I forget who it was who mentioned it, but it was someone either in the chat or in YouTube comments who mentioned it, and this has improved my life immeasurably. So kusli to tli. Okay, so then let's see what else we have. We have words like, let's take a look at and see what happens with munal. So munal, in B2 we lose this u, and it becomes moi. Munal. In B21 we just go to mnal. And B211, I don't think we have anything for this yet, so we will ponder. In B22, we spread the secondary articulation to the entire cluster. In B221, I don't think we're going to do anything necessarily to the A, because it is not front. But in B2211, we might have mnual. And in B, oh no, sorry, that's incorrect. We have manal, and it's B222 where we get mnual. There we go. So this is not a terminal node. Sorry. So these would be the modern languages: 1, 211, 2211, and 222. So far, anyway. Okay. Let's do more. So we want something to do in B211. So let's do the thing that that Scottish Gaelic does, or at least some varieties at least, where we go from manal to mral. So we have a nasal vowel there. Mral. That could work. And maybe we also have one yeah, maybe it's, oh, Benji, that's a good point. Maybe we introduce a contrast between the tap and the trill. So mra, mral. And then in 2, 1, 2, we do initial geminates. Mal. Oops. Which thing is going to be the geminate? The first one. John. Bal. Okay. Yeah, chat is fast today. So cool. All right. Now let's see if we can get everything on screen. I don't think we can. Maybe if I move myself, because I'm not as important as these forms. Go down here, you can see more. As long as I don't do stuff at the bottom. Let's see. Okay, yeah, Raven, we could make rounded A into aw or o. And that could be a fun thing to do, especially because what was that form? Manal. Especially because this language is starting to have a more extensive vowel inventory. So why don't we do o? So rounded A goes to o. And so we have o and e. And so that would be manol. And then we get this really, really cool cognate set. Munal, mral, mal, manol, mnual. That can stand up there with our kusli, kli, kselu, klui, I think. And we haven't even touched the coda yet. There are things that we can do. Yeah, okay. Okay, let's do another one. Let's do lupit, flower. So we have lupit. We then do our magic where we have whoop, repeat. And then in 2-1, we just delete that. And I think in 2-1, we should metathesize this. Yeah, I don't know. Let's do that for a second. And do B22. So we have lupuit, tough. And then we have lepit. And then we appenthesize schwa to get leput. And similarly, what are we going to do here? We have lepuit. So, and maybe we metathesize this, pluit, instead of lepuit. Yeah. Why are we missing tones? We are not going to be missing tones for long, but I want to get us a little ways along the segmental changes first. I want to make sure we have enough to work with to do the tones. We're going to get tones. Yeah, we're going to get tones in one of these. Probably not today, because I think we'll have to talk about tonogenesis, and I don't think, yeah, I'd rather do that with a bit of, yeah, I'd like to prepare some stuff. All right. Catching up on the chat. Bakal, makal, mkal, nkal, ngal, ngao. And then there's some tone in there. Okay, let's work with that. So what is Yeah, no, if you've posted an idea and I haven't seen it, Neku, I just saw your message up there. It's not that I think it's bad. It's I'm not a great multitasker. And when the stream goes, you know, the stream of text goes, I don't see all of it. Okay, so let's do what Benji's talking about here. So let's try one where we have, I don't know, what, maybe we should have B3. Oops, B3. And B3 could have something where all the voiced stops just become nasals. So we have makal and marus and nipan and still kusli. Lupit would be the same. Munal would be the same. Okay, so that's B3. And then B3.1 is going to lose. It's just going to straight up lose these minor syllables. Okay. And then we are going to have some assimilation, place assimilation. As Benji's pointed out, we're going to have this mkal become something like ngal. So we're going to take the place from the second consonant. We're going to take the voicing from the first. And so we end up with this kind of prenasalized stop, which looks like ngal. And similarly, mban. Anyone else? Repeat. We'll have to figure out something cool to do with that. Maybe that just will metathesize as well, to pleat. And so then we may have a voiced. Yeah, what else are we gonna have? We're having a prenasalized versus versus voiceless contrast. So if we're going to, oops, chat's not, the chat's not updating. Okay, there we are. So x to ska. So while we're on the topic of metathesis, Neku points out an opportunity where we can use it in this xli. So we could have something like a metathesis showing up here, skli, and then we would get scully, and I think we would still get clwi. I'll have to think about this. Where do we want that metathesis to happen? Maybe it's just here, scully, and maybe we could also do it here, skli. And maybe what we could do is have this same thing where, I don't know. I don't want to be samey. But basically, I'd like to have a language with a three-way voicing contrast somewhere in here so we can start to have fun when tone comes up. And I don't know that... Oh, we do have it in B222. So I think B222 is going to be the branch that that is going to undergo tonogenesis. I mean, maybe some of the others will as well, but I think this is our sort of ground zero for tonogenesis. Okay, I'm going to just stop here just for the sake of having shorter videos on YouTube so people aren't having to go through a whole hour at once. And I will thank our YouTube audience for joining us. Thank you, YouTube. You're great. Keep doing what you do. And come back and join us because we're going to keep doing this. We're just going to keep going. So I'll do the final mug for YouTube. I'll get one of these.